Hey guys, Jamie and Bush here. I've been thinking about a dish that I regularly have during the week and pretty much want to turn that into something that could be served as a dinner party dish. So if you want to find out how I'm going to do it, it's spicy chicken, mushrooms, loads of umami going on there, and it's just flavor packed and pretty much a winning combination. Okay, so to get the ball rolling, I want to make the mushrooms first. So normally I would use a cream base if I was going to make a mushroom puree, but because it's got an Asian twist on it, I don't want to use the cream and I just want to pretty much use the juices from itself. So what I'm going to do for that is grab a tray. I've got some lovely mushrooms here. I'm just going to take a couple of these and we'll keep those as just to fry them off, and then we can use those as almost a garnish on the dish. So we can just leave them like that. By the time they've shrunk, then they'll be good. And then we can jump into the mushrooms. So you can pretty much just chop them up any old how, throw them into a tray. So if they're very dirty, you can just brush off. If you have a pastry brush, just use a pastry brush to brush off any dirt or anything. These ones are pretty clean. And then what you really don't want to be doing is washing them under the tap, because the mushroom will just take on water and it pretty much like dilutes the flavour. So it won't matter so much for this type of dish, but if you were to fry them, you're more likely to get a stewed mushroom instead of a fried mushroom. So you're going to lose the flavour. So we've got our tray of mushrooms. Gonna put some salt on them. That will extract some of the moisture from the mushroom, and then I'm just gonna drizzle over some oil, and then put some foil over these. So really want them to cook down well. When they're really well cooked like that, you're going to get loads of juice in the bottom. So once they're chopped up, add some oil, cover with foil, and then they can go into the oven. That's set at 180 and they can go in for about 30 minutes. So I've got these mushrooms that I'm just going to use as garnish. I've cut them in half. Just going to season those. And then we can fire up the pan, add some oil, and then fry those off. And then they can just sit on the side until everything else is ready to come together. So we can just put those in. I'm going to put them this side down, so get a nice even colour afterwards. When we know we've got that colour, then we can flip them over, because I will use that as the presentation side, like facing up when we actually come to put them on the plate. Once you've got the mushrooms in the oven and the other ones fried off, we're going to then crack on with the chicken. So with the chicken, we're going to go in with ginger garlic, Shaoxing, which is a Chinese cooking wine, Sambal for the spice, and then some mirin for the sweetness. And that mirin has sugar content, so when it comes to going into the pan, you're going to get a nice caramelization and flavour there. So let's just make the marinade and then leave it to sit, and then we can get on and everything will be starting to come together. I'm going to go in with a couple of spoons of Sambal, 1 spoon of garlic, a big one of ginger. I always go heavy on the ginger. Some mirin, soy sauce, and some Shaoxing, which is Chinese cooking wine, so about a shot of that. Then I've got some spring onions that what we need to do is I'm just going to cut where it turns green, and you can save those for a stock or something. And then we just need to clean the spring onions, so if they're really dirty you can just pull off the outer layer or just trim the root off. The spring onions can go straight into a frying pan and just cook them until they've got some colour. So the mushrooms are almost there in the oven. We've got the spring onions and mushrooms here, so I'm just going to crack on with the chicken that's been marinating. So that will have loads of flavour. So with the mirin in here, we've got some sugar content, which is going to caramelize when it goes in the pan, so you just need to be really careful that you don't leave it for too long, because those sugars will caramelize and we want them caramelized, not burnt. So once that's hot, you can see it's slightly smoking now. We can go straight in the pan. There we go, that's a good amount of colour. You can just flip those over. Just take them out, put them on a tray. And these are going to take about 17 minutes in the oven. So the mushrooms have been in for about 30 minutes. So let's just check on those. They should be good. So just be careful of the steam when you put it back. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to douse them in soy sauce. Like any dish, just because it's a Chinese dish, it doesn't like Chinese flavors, it doesn't really matter. But any dish that I cook, even if it's like a mushroom soup, I'm always putting that in because it really brings out the flavor and adds like another dimension of umami to the dish. So just give it a go. Just anything you're making, even if it's just fried mushrooms, just throw a bit of soy sauce and you'll really see the difference in the dish. So they're ready to blend. Okay, so my mushroom puree is ultra smooth now, so that can just go into a pan. If you're doing it to order, you could actually serve it straight from here. So my chicken is ready. That's been in for the time, so that can come out. They can just sit there to rest. We can put this on just to on a low heat to keep warm, and then the mushrooms and the spring onions can just go in the oven. We're just going to give this a few minutes to rest and then we'll be ready to plate. So you can clear some space. Plates can go in the oven. And then I'm just gonna some thin slices of this chili just to just for a nice bright red to go on the plate. So knock the seeds out so you don't have those. And it's literally just for a visual. All those small details, you know, when you're doing a finer dining type dish, all those small details are just what will make it pop on the plate. So that puree is hot and smooth, so there's enough heat in the pan to keep that hot, so you can just get ready to plate. So plates up, they're pretty warm. Okay, so the chicken is nicely rested. We've got some chili garnish, got some watercress, got my mushroom puree. So I'm just going to start with this. So what I like to do is normally I will put a little bit for the base of the protein, and then gonna have the puree there that's gonna actually show. Just for this piece, we can knock it down flat, and then the chicken can just sit on top of that. So For this, I'm just going to trim off the side so it can actually sit flat. If you're going to have both of them wanting to sit on their side, then you need to trim both sides. The chicken can just sit on top of that. We can then, I've got some, if it falls, generally it's better just to leave it. So we can just arrange our greens as you want. If you're doing it for a large number, I would just put it straight on the plate. You don't want to be wasting time slicing the chicken and messing around. You just want to be serving hot food. So you can just drop these pieces on. So that green gives it a nice bit of colour. Got some chilli, just going to drop those slices of chilli in. Just for like pops of red. Got the mushrooms that can sit in. These can show up. And then these guys can just lay over the top, and then just to cover it up so it all looks tangled and beautiful. We can do that, and then I'm just going to finish this with chili oil. So I always put this on the side, so if people are not spice tolerant, they don't need to take it, but you can then just like drizzle some over if that's your thing, and then that's it. That's all you need to do, and it's very simple, and it just looks pretty nice and tasty.